Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Today I am showing you my audiobook process. I am recording an audiobook of Evergreen and the Silver Tree, my first ever published novel, my middle grade Christian fantasy, and it's the first in a series. So it's super fun. I can't wait to show you my process. I have a cool podcast microphone that I plug into my MacBook, and then I pull up, as you saw in the video, my Evergreen and the Silver Tree document. You can see how many chapters I've recorded so far, and yeah, it's super fun. Stay tuned for more, but I can't wait to show you my process. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Chapter 16, The Old Rugged Cross. Chapter 16, The Old Rugged Cross. Evergreen dried herself off and put on her new tunic and trousers, all the while her heart beating fast. He called me a little girl. A little girl! He had also spied on her, threatened her more than once, and went through her personal belongings. He may be human, but who does he think he is? Oh, right. He worked for Paladin. But why? Why does he work for Paladin? And why would he help me, especially since he knows who I am? It didn't make any sense. Still, she was grateful. She had been wrong about him. He wasn't a monster. So why did he work for one? And why does he have silver hands? Evergreen picked up the broken pieces of her driver's license and held them in her hand. She put on her own shoes and picked up her own backpack, the only two items she had from home. Home. Green hugged her backpack close and suppressed her tears. Once she arrived at the Naffle-tree forest, she paused to examine the life bustling amongst the trees. Gnomes and people swarmed the ground, tending to their gardens or harvesting vegetables for the celebration feast. Some of the younger ladies were braiding wildflowers through each other's hair. A large cauldron hung over a fire pit in the ground. The aroma coming from the cauldron reminded Green of barbecued ribs. Evergreen knew she could throw her license into the fire beneath the cauldron, but her backpack was too large. She ran up the Naffle-tree leading to the girl's hut and decided she could hide her backpack under the thick fur mattress. No one had even glanced her way, so she figured the sapphire bracelet must be working. After coming down the Naffle-tree, she made her way to the cauldron and knelt down, clenching her license in her hand. A female gnome walked up beside her to inspect the cauldron's ingredients. Green remained still as the gnome, unaware of Evergreen's presence, stuck her fingers inside the cauldron and pulled out a bite of meat, throwing the meat into her mouth and licking her fingers. Oh, hot! Ooh, but so tender! Evergreen smiled up at the jovial gnome, but her joy dissipated when she returned her attention to the 4 broken pieces of her identity. Placing the pieces on the ground, she stared at her cracked picture. The Evergreen in the picture had on a blue summer dress and wore a painted smile, having no idea another world of monsters and living, breathing gnomes existed. Back then, she really was a little girl. You're just a little girl. Silverman's snide remark hurt. Why did he say that? She wondered. I'm not a little girl anymore, that's for sure. Evergreen tossed her identity in the fire and watched her face melt in the flames. It was like a metaphor for how she had, or how she was, changing. When she returned home, she would never be the same. Well, hello there, Green, came a jubilant voice. Trying to stay warm by the fire, I presume. The bottom of the trunk. There's another room underground? We're not just going underground. We're sliding into the tree root itself. See you soon! With that, Paul jumped through the door and disappeared, but she could hear him squealing with childlike delight. Peering into the door, Evergreen saw nothing but darkness.
like veins surrounded them. At the back of the room, built into the wall, was an enormous bookshelf lined with worn-out books made from letter-sized, cream-colored leaves. "This apple tree is the only one with a root large enough for all of us to eat," said Paul.